Ever catch yourself daydreaming, you know, about launching a website?
Not just a thought bubble, like actually out there on the web for everyone to see.
Yeah. And then you snap back to reality and it feels impossible.
Well, hold on to your hats because today we're diving into Microsoft's Quick Start. Build your first static web app guide.
And get this, it's from September 18th, 2024.
Fresh off the press, so we're dealing with the latest and greatest.
So whether you're a coding rock star or more my speed, just starting out, this guide makes it surprisingly approachable.
It really does.
Seriously, they walk you through count them, 5 different front-end frameworks. No framework, Angular, Blazor, React, Vue.
Don't let the names scare you.
Right, they're all here to help.
Exactly. They break them down so well, it might surprise you how easy it is to dive in.
Okay, before we get lost in the weeds, let's talk about this whole static web app thing.
Sure. So in the simplest terms, think of a static web app like a pre-built website.
Yeah.
All those pages.
Yeah.
Already put together so they load super fast.
Got it.
Like a brochure website for a business.
Yeah.
Or say you're a writer, a blog to share your thoughts.
Makes sense.
Even an online portfolio to show off your work. That kind of thing.
So different from like a social media platform where everything's always changing.
Exactly. Those are your dynamic web apps constantly updating. This guide, this is all about the static side of things. Perfect for like dipping your toes into web development.
And they use this cool tool, right? Azure Static Web Apps. What's the deal with that?
Okay, so picture this. You've got all your website code nice and organized in a repository like GitHub or Azure DevOps.
Okay.
Azure Static Web Apps is like this bridge connecting your code to the internet. It grabs your code from that repository and boom, it automatically builds and deploys your website.
Automatically. Okay, see, this is the kind of magic I love about technology, especially for someone just starting out. That automation, it's like a whole weight off your shoulders. It's in the name, Quick Start.
Totally. No more messing around with servers or any of those complicated setups. Azure Static Web Apps takes care of it all. Behind the scenes.
Speaking of, the guide does mention some prerequisites, and yeah, you guessed it, you need an Azure account. Now, we talk in paid service here.
Don't worry, free trial is your best friend. Plenty there to experiment and follow along.
Nice.
And another plus, it works with both GitHub and Azure DevOps. So whatever you're used to, you're covered.
Okay, so let's say Azure account. Check. The guide then walks us through creating a repository, and honestly, it's super user-friendly. Step-by-step, even template repositories for each framework.
Right, and it gets even better.
Oh.
They give you links to pre-built starter apps for any framework you choose, Angular, Blazor, whatever it is.
Hold on, so you're telling me I don't even have to start from scratch?
Nope. Jump right into deployment without all the initial setup. Huge time saver.
Yeah.
Best way to learn is by doing,
That's incredible. Okay, so starter app ready. What's next?
So you head over to the Azure portal to create your static web app. You'll choose your subscription and resource group. Those are just ways to organize stuff within Azure.
Don't get me sweating the technical details yet.
Exactly. No worries there. The guide walks you through it. Pick a catchy name for your app, and here's the important part. Choose the free plan. Then you're ready to connect that app to your repository.
Which is where picking the right region comes in, right? I think I skimmed over that part.
Good catch. Region matters. You want to pick a region close to your users so your website loads nice and quick for them.
Makes sense, but I gotta say, it's too bad the guide doesn't, dive deeper into that,
Yeah.
It would be helpful to know which region's best for, say, someone building their very first website. Feels like a missed opportunity for some more specific advice.
I agree.
Okay, but back to connecting our app, I did notice the guide mentions potential authorization issues. Does that mean I need to be some kind of tech genius to figure this out?
Not at all. While authorization can be a pain, the guide's got your back. They actually anticipate this being a roadblock, so they give you solutions step by step for both GitHub and Azure DevOps.
Okay, that's reassuring. This guide really is like having someone hold your hand through the whole thing.
Exactly. And speaking of making things easier, let's talk build presets. Basically, they streamline the configuration for each framework. No more getting lost in a million different settings. They tell you exactly what to do, specific to your framework.
So if I choose, say, Angular, the guide will tell me what to put where and when. No more guessing games.
You got it, like having a personal guide through the whole technical setup.
Wow, from what's a static web app
Yeah.
to I could totally set that up in like, what, 20 minutes?
Right, this Microsoft guide is like the ultimate cheat sheet.
Totally. Although it does feel like we zoomed past the finish line.
How so?
Well, the guide focuses so much on the setup, it doesn't really go into what happens after you hit create.
Yeah.
And like, launching a website's got to be more than just clicking a button, right?
Oh, absolutely. There's definitely some magic happening in the background. A couple of key things. So first, Azure, it goes ahead and sets up all these resources your website needs, to actually run. Like, think of it as building the stage for your website to shine.
I love that.
And then it starts this whole workflow that takes your code, packages it all up nicely, and then deploys it out to the internet for the world to see.
So it's like we just get to sit back and watch the show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the cool part is the guide doesn't leave you in the dark while all this is happening. Remember how we talked about Azure Static Web Apps connecting to your repository?
Yeah, like GitHub or Azure DevOps.
Right. So once you hit Create, the Static Web Apps overview window, it actually gives you all these handy links. One of them takes you straight to GitHub Actions. That's where the real action's at.
GitHub Actions. Okay, remind me, what exactly is happening over there?
Imagine you're sending like a package to a friend, right? GitHub Actions is like the tracking system for your website deployment. You can see each step, like your code being built, then they test it out, and finally, bam, deployed.
No more hitting refresh a million times, hoping my website's finally up.
Exactly. GitHub Actions takes out all the guesswork. Just relax. Everything's happening in the background. And then once it's done, it gives you this shiny new URL. You can go check out your masterpiece live on the internet.
Whoa, hold up. That means we just went from 0 to fully functioning website in like less time than it takes to order a pizza.
Pretty much.
This is huge. Think of the possibilities. Showcasing your photography, starting a blog, heck, even a little online shop, all within reach.
It's incredible how accessible web dev has become, right? Tools like Azure Static Web Apps, GitHub Actions, they're changing the game.
I gotta say, my mind is blown. I always thought building a website was this crazy complicated thing, only for coding geniuses. But now I feel like I could actually do it.
That's the beauty of it. Breaking down barriers, making it possible for anyone to create something amazing. And this is just the beginning.
Wait, there's more. We already built a website. What else is there?
Remember our chat about static versus dynamic web apps?
Right. So static is like our beautifully crafted brochure, perfect for information. And dynamic, that's your social media, online stores, all that interactive stuff, right?
Exactly. We've got the static site down, but Azure Static Web Apps, it's got a secret weapon, Azure Functions.
Azure Functions. Okay, now we're getting all sci-fi. Break that down for me.
So in the simplest terms, Azure Functions let you add dynamic functionality to your static website without you having to become a coding wizard overnight.
Okay, I like where this is going.
Think of it like this. You've got your awesome, beautifully designed website, yeah? Azure Functions are like little bursts of energy you can sprinkle on top, bringing it to life.
Okay, give me an example. What kind of dynamic functionality are we talking here?
So say you want people to be able to contact you through your website, right? With Azure Functions, you can add a contact form, easy peasy. Someone fills it out, boom, they send you an email.
Nice.
Or maybe you want people to be able to book appointments directly on your site.
Oh, right.
Azure Functions can handle that too. No need to build a whole complicated booking system from scratch.
Hold on. So you're telling me I can start with a simple static site and then just add these dynamic elements as I go. That changes everything. I'm already thinking of all the cool stuff I could add. Although, I'm also getting the feeling Azure Functions might deserve their own deep dive. They sound pretty powerful. We could talk about Azure Functions all day. But even without them, this has been a wild ride. We went from barely knowing what a static web app was to navigating Azure and deploying websites.
That's what a little guidance can do, right?
Seriously, Microsoft knocked it out of the park with this guide.
They really did. They lay everything out so clearly.
Exactly. And even though we just scratched the surface of web development today, I feel ready to explore more,
I get it. It's like they gave you the keys to the car, and now you just want to see where it can go.
Totally. This deep dive really lit a fire in me. Maybe we'll have to do a part 2 where we conquer those Azure functions.
I'd be down for that. But until then, remember, the world of web development, it's your oyster.
I love that.
Experiment, have fun, and, build those digital dreams.
Well said. That's all the time we have for today's deep dive into static web apps.
Until next time.
Happy coding, everybody.